So I spend a lot of time with agents in my agency coaching them to be better producers on a one-on-one and group basis. One of the common trainings that I focus on is reviewing sales presentations, reviewing scripting. And what I'm trying to listen for is what the agent says, how the agent says what they say, and then give real-life practical advice on how they can improve their scripting, their sales skills so they can close more business. But what I've discovered through this coaching process is there's almost guaranteed one problem that frequently is a recurring theme with every single agent that I come across. I'm going to share with you what that problem is and kind of give you some tips on how to avoid making this mistake, because avoiding it can mean a huge difference in your overall results selling insurance. My name is David Duford, owner of Duford Insurance Group. I train and recruit agents nationally to sell things like final expense, Medicare, and annuities, both face-to-face and over the phone. And here is the biggest problem I see from agents who work with me and those I've coached over the years, and it is this: asking disturbing questions. So you may be asking me, what's a disturbing question? I'll be happy to reply. Very simple. In the context of fact-finding or pre-qualifying your client, you need to spend time getting to the core fear that your client has that motivates them to be interested in what it is that you're selling them. Without asking these disturbing questions, you can never really get to the rawness, the depth, the emotionality of what motivates a person to sell. And you'll find that by not asking these disturbing questions, that you'll very rarely make sales. You'll make much less than you would had you have asked these types of questions. Now, let me start by telling you what isn't a disturbing question. It may sound a little disturbing to you, but it's a good question, but it's not getting to the heart of the matter. Do you have existing life insurance? Do you want to be buried or cremated? Who do you want your beneficiary to be? These are all questions that ascertain facts. They give you some insight on what their concerns are or what they believe on a very surface-oriented level. Instead, while you will get some good information from that, we definitely employ those questions in our routine. They're not the only questions you want to ask, because you'll find as you ask these questions, the entire conversation kind of stays on the surface. People don't really express their fears, their emotions, their worries, their desires, and they just kind of talk to you like they're talking about buying a loaf of bread. We don't want that for selling something like this. So what does a disturbing question really sound like? So here's a couple of examples I employ in my sales presentation. What were your thoughts and concerns when you had requested this information? So you don't have any coverage today. Well, if you don't mind me asking, what if you die tomorrow? What happens then? How would your family feel? Or let's say I know the beneficiary. How would Jenny feel if you died without insurance? What would she think? What would she say? These are a couple of examples of very simple questions that allow your client to answer in a way that is uncomfortable. And I think the term disturbing questions really it's not just referencing, the question, how the client reacts. It's disturbing questions. I don't want to think about me dying. I don't want to think about my kid not having insurance and the feeling she'll feel. It's disturbing also for the agent, because you'll feel a little strange asking these questions. So this is why we have to practice asking them. And the reason we ask these is because it's emotion that drives every single purchase in America, and really around the world. And when we're talking about a very conceptual product like life insurance or even insurance in general, you have to have emotion pushing the sale past the field goal line, past the end zone. And if you don't have emotion, yeah, you'll make some sales here and there if you do everything else right, but you'll miss on so many opportunities because people don't visually, as we like to say, which is very true, see the hearse backed up against their front porch. And again, notice these questions, these disturbing questions. These aren't, me being a jerk and asking questions that, are putting the client off or disrespecting them or guilt tripping them. These aren't pressure questions. These are the questions, as I've mentioned in other videos, where we build internal tension, where we take them through a scenario of what happens when they don't do this. And we allow them to come up with their own level of feelings and decide for themselves what to think. And you'll find by allowing people to do this, if they have a heart and they love their family, which is the sole purpose of buying insurance, that they will agree with all this and their level of urgency will naturally increase without you having to do anything. So ask these kinds of questions. You have to ask disturbing questions. Again, we all are busy with living, not with dying. The only people busy with dying are those that are on their deathbed, that see no way out of dying. And then by then, for what we do, it's too late. So you have to capture people and grab them by the lapels, really, and have them understand that now is the time to take action before things get too late. And you have to get there by asking these disturbing questions. So what would I do to recommend you to start doing this? First of all, insert some of these questions I mentioned earlier. Also an important tactic too as well, record yourself, listen to yourself. You should be having an emotional conversation with your clients. If you're not having emotion in the conversation, it's not going to go anywhere. And you'll tell because how you're talking sounds just like you're talking to a store clerk. You almost have to sound like you're on a date and you're actually interested in the prospect. You know, if you're a male and you're talking to a female, you don't talk about yourself, you talk about the female. You talk about what they think, what their feelings are. You ask them good questions, you shut up and listen. And yeah, you may ask some pointed questions, but people are, they like being asked questions because it shows you're interested. And when we're asking disturbing questions, we're asking now something that very few people have ever asked that person. And it just gives us such a leg up in the sales process. So start asking these questions, these disturbing questions, and start making more sales. My name is David DeFord. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in joining my agency, there's links above and below. Just click on the link and you'll learn more about how my agency works. Feel free to leave a comment below. If you got some disturbing questions, you can leave them below and be happy to collect them so other people can benefit from adding them to their routine. And thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.